final showcasing the two most talked about prospects in the world. Canada's Shane Hollander.
Shane Hollander, I wanted to introduce myself.
Okay.
All right, well, Crave's hot new series, Heated Rivalry, shines a light on queer people in professional sport, specifically hockey. It has been a huge hit internationally with viewers across the country and all over the world. But what does the show's success mean for queer people in hockey and other sports? Joining us live now this morning to talk about this is Ben Baby, Commissioner of the Toronto Gay Hockey Association. Good morning, Ben. Thanks so much for coming in to chat about this. We are both admittedly Heated Rivalry fans, but talk about the impact of this show for specifically members of the Toronto Gay Hockey Association.
Morning, Jennifer. Thanks for having me. The impact is incredibly far-reaching and significant for not only those of us within the queer sports community, but I think within the queer community at large. It tells a coming-of-age story that the queer community just hasn't had, not with this kind of depth, not with this kind of soul, not with this kind of accuracy. And so we're really seeing, I think for the first time, a story within professional sports that we haven't seen before, that the queer community really, really needed.
Yeah, I mean, there were watch parties, there's podcasts about this show. And I think what's beautiful is not just the acting, which, you know, Jacob Tierney, great casting, great cinematography, but it's a love story and it's one of inclusion. And I think the message is not about like, okay, of course it covers the issues facing, you know, players who are gay who need to keep that a secret, but it's really about being yourself, right? And that's what the message or mission is of the Toronto Gay Hockey Association.
Yes, so the Toronto Gay Hockey Association's mission is to provide a place that's safe and inclusive for people of all genders and identities. We were founded in 1994, so we've been around for a very long time. We've grown to 20 teams, making us the largest LGBTQ plus hockey league in the world. So we're very proud of the space that we provide. And it's really important that these spaces continue to grow. And ideally, all spaces within sport would have that same mission to provide that space that's safe and inclusive for everybody.
Yeah, and you know, Ben, you were telling me that you didn't start hockey till 10 years ago. What was the reason for that?
You know, growing up, I instinctively knew that those spaces were not safe for me. I felt like I would not be welcomed. I would not feel emotionally or psychologically safe in those spaces. And it wasn't until I moved to Toronto that I felt I could face those fears and learn to play hockey. The Toronto Gay Hockey Association actually served as a beacon for me throughout my younger years. I was a late teen when I found out about the Toronto Gay Hockey Association. And it very much gave me a place to end up and a place that I knew I could go and be myself and play. And that's what a lot of queer athletes face, is this choice between playing the sport that they love and living an out, authentic life. And that is in conflict historically. And more so we're seeing these barriers being broken down. And I think that's this moment that we're having with Heated Rivalry is, you know, we haven't had that experience in reality, not in hockey, not at the national level, the national professional level. And so Heated Rivalry is giving us this facsimile of how it could look with this incredible beauty and integrity to the story. You know, if a player were to come out tomorrow, we wouldn't have known their history or their struggles. You know, if you've seen Heated Rivalry, it really gives you a perspective as to what that reality might look like. And it gives that humanity. It's not just a person coming out. There's this person, this human that's been through this incredibly long, complicated struggle. And now that we've seen an example of what that looks like in Heated Rivalry, when that player or those players do come out, you know, we have a template for what their struggle might have been, and there's so much more humanity and feeling for that person and what their struggles may have been.
Absolutely. And I love how the show, I mean, it starts out hot and heavy. You can't deny these are like two good-looking guys. They're athletic. They're top of the game. There is this fantasy world, you know, built in. But, you know, simultaneously, it shows their struggle. And I cried at the season finale when it was Hollander's mom who was outside and she was like, sad, and he was like, oh mom, like I'm so sorry, almost apologizing, like I'm sorry, I'm gay, I've disappointed you. And she's like, no, I'm crying because I'm sad that you felt like you couldn't tell me, that you didn't feel like your own parents would accept that. And you couple that with being in a profession where it's like high intense competitive sports, it's just like pressure upon pressure and you can't even be yourself. And I just think, yeah, the show really highlights that.
The show highlights a lot of best case scenarios. And when that character comes out, that is a best case scenario. And I'm happy to say that was my experience with my mom and my dad. I was very lucky. A lot of people don't have that experience, but the show sets up a lot of steps through the coming out process in the best possible way. The friends, the girlfriends that these guys have, the support that they get from them is so critical in a young gay man's life. I've had that. A lot of us have that, and we're thankful for that. But the show sets up a lot of stages of that coming out process, and in a best case scenario way, which really is a great template for everybody that needs those support systems, and for parents too, to see what that can look like and how to best support their kids.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of a model show for, you know, what we all kind of want, which is love and to be accepted for who we are.
And seen.
And seen. Very good. Okay, Ben Baby, thank you so much for joining us from the Toronto Gay Hockey Association. Appreciate your time, and let's look forward to season 2 of Heated Rivalry.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.